Hey, Obed, welcome to the show and to the team. How are you
What's
doing?
up, my man? I'm pretty good. Thank you, man. Thanks for having me on the show and on the team. I'm hyped. I'm excited, ready to go. I may not sound like it because it's early morning for me, but
hmm
rest assured, I'm extremely excited.
Yeah, so like everybody knows you, but as a background, most recently you were at Client Boost and Luxo
Yeah.
on
Yeah.
contract, and then you also worked at Cognizant. You create your own agency. You scaled an agency as well,
Yeah.
and now you joined us. So I would like to start with why. Why did you join HockeyStack?
Good question. That's a loaded question. There's a lot of
Mm-hmm.
reasons. There are some personal reasons that unrelated to Hockey Stack, the product, you guys as a team, and then there's a bunch of reasons related to Hockey Stack. First and foremost, I think the most important one is I was absolutely blown away by the product. Like and I mean that. Like I mean that seriously. It's not like every day, like I don't think I've ever been actually like blown away by a product. Like like a lot of people say like, oh, you should sell a product you're passionate about. And to
Mm-hmm.
me, like realistically though, like I like SaaS, I like marketing, but I don't think I've ever been like thinking about a product if I didn't have to. You know what I mean? Like think, oh wow, man, that product is just amazing. Like I don't know if that's a realistic like thing, but Hockey Stack, I was like, holy crap, like this is insane. And so there are times where like I was in Dubai and I'm just like sitting outside, like downstairs at the marina or something, and like soaking in the view. And I just randomly start thinking about like Hockey Stack stuff. And I'm like, it's crazy. And so the biggest thing was, I think the biggest thing is that. And then, there's a ton of reasons that go around it that made the decision a lot easier. The product was the leading thing. So I mean, just to sort of sum that up, I was really impressed by the product. I thought it was super cool. I thought all the stuff it currently does is awesome. I thought the ways that it did it is sick. The way that I feel like the product can evolve, I think that's super dope. And, just sort of like the category we're in when it comes to like attribution and marketing and all that stuff. I think that's super sick. There's a lot of ways that I'm thinking about like, ways to position it and our messaging. And I'm really excited about diving into the weeds of all that. Like, for example, at Loxo, I was like the first marketer, the only marketer. Marketing didn't exist in the company before I came on board. So there was like a whole bunch of initial like stuff to do and set up and take care of before I could even think about like, okay, what kind of content are we going to make? Right. There was like all the initial message testing and website revamp and all that stuff. So that was the really, really fun part of Loxo for me. And so, getting to go into all of that with a product that I'm like super, super impressed by and product that I really like, I think that's exciting. Um, and, aside from the product being really cool and, that initial starting from scratch sort of thing where, I'm not necessarily starting from scratch. You guys have done a lot of cool stuff. I like the way that, you guys already think about content. You're already planning out content. You got the behind the scenes documentary stuff going, the vlog going, the stuff that you guys already post. So I think that's really cool. Just a lot of times, like I've had to do the convincing that we should be creating content. And like, I've had to try to convince, the CEO and this co-founder and that co-founder that we should do this and we should do it that way. A lot of those initial battles are not present here. So that's one big thing. Like, I don't need to convince you guys that we should be creating content. I don't need to convince you guys to be on LinkedIn and all this stuff. And so, believe it or not, these are very like they seem like common sense things and simple things, but I feel like the bigger you get up into an organization, and it just becomes more and more of a battle. And so there's like that, and then a ton of another initial huge battles that I don't have to overcome, like the way that you guys think about marketing. You know, when you and me first spoke and we were just talking and we were riffing on ideas and stuff, I was like, dude, holy shit, like that was a huge part of it. And so that again, it's like, man, think about it this way, like it's really make or break. Like you could have that with someone, and a founder or a CEO, a business owner could think that way, or they could not think that way. And then a marketer like me, it's either going to be a massive 6-7 month back and forth, you know, ongoing discussion and debates. And it's like this really long battle, while in the meantime, I have to do this work that I'm not really excited about, in hopes that I'll be able to convince you and we'll get to this point someday. So like, it's literally like career, you know, like changing or career altering, right? Whether someone believes that way or they don't. And then on the other hand, you meet with someone, and a guy like me that has these, you know, out of the box ideas that I can back up with strategy and whatnot. And you're just like, yeah, hell yeah. Yeah. And then what about this? What about that? And so like just this small thing, it makes such a huge difference in terms of like the career of a marketer and whatnot. So like all these initial battles, there's so many initial battles that are just not there. And then I've actually never had that in my career before. And, you know, it's always been, we'll do this and we'll do that and we'll do this and, you know, we'll do that. And then I get on board, and then it's just like, all right, you know, it's almost like, haha, I lied. Gotcha. You know, like, and then I'm like doing all this other stuff. So, yeah, I was super hyped about that. Let's see what else.
Any personal reasons that you want to talk about?
Yeah, personal reasons for sure, man. On the personal side, it's been a rough up and downs, you know, the past 2 years. Like I used to run an agency and it was going well. We were like a 5-person team. In, you know, like 3 years, we went from like 0 to like 35, 40K MRR. And it was dope. We were doing animated explainer videos. We were creating branded art styles. We were creating branded characters. We were also doing like content strategy on the side. We were really good at blogging. We were, you know, scaling traffic, doing all that stuff. And then, yeah, it was going super well. My dad passed away from COVID, and then I thought I could just like kind of soldier through it. But like 6, 7, 8 months after that happened, it kind of caught up to me, and I was like, shit, man, you know, like at the time, this was, I guess, like 2 years ago. So like at the time I was 29 years old. My daughter was 7 at the time. I just had a son. So I was like, I'm working 7 days a week. I barely get to see my kids. And then so I moved on from running my agency. And then I was like, you know, I got a full-time job and whatnot. The first full-time job I got, cool company, but it just wasn't the place for me. It, you know, for like what I'm looking for, it wasn't the best environment. So that didn't work out. That lasted about, you know, 3 months. After that, I went back to, so I wasn't creating content on LinkedIn yet. You could say this is now around March of last year. I stopped running the agency in October the year before last. In January of last year, I started that full-time job. It lasted about till March. Then after that, I was just applying to jobs, dude. I remember that month of March, I applied to like 60, 65 jobs. And I like just the old school way, LinkedIn, Glassdoor, like that. I heard back from maybe like 3 of them, and I got 2 interviews out of like 65 job applications. And then I remember making it through, speaking of Glassdoor, I made it through like almost the last interview with Glassdoor for a content marketing manager role, right? And then they finally got back to me and they're like, yeah, you know, like we went with someone else. And then so I'm just like, in my mind at the time, right? I was like, yo, how can I not get a basic content marketing manager job? Like, it's not even, you know, like a VP of marketing, a head of content, you know, head of marketing. It's just the basic content marketing manager role. And dude, I was just coming off of running this agency and growing, like, you know, at that point, I had made a video game trailer for PlayStation, and, you know, I had scaled over 6 SaaS companies to like 100,000 monthly traffic, monthly visitors and whatnot. So I'd done a, you know, a good amount of few things, and I couldn't even find like a basic role. So I'm just like, what's going on? And then I realized what I'd say to myself is like, man, I can do this and I can do that. And then I realized one day I was like, yo, like, you know, you can do all these things. Like, no one else knows you can do all these things. And then so I had already been building sort of like my LinkedIn network over the past couple of years. I wasn't posting on LinkedIn a lot, but I was, you know, adding all the right people and just trying to grow my network strategically. I was using it as sort of like an nonstop ongoing industry conference, right? So it's just like you're building like this, you know, I see, think of like your favorite industry conference and all your peers and influencers and whatever are going there. So I was just kind of trying to turn my news feed into that. So I was looking up like funded companies and then going to like their LinkedIn profile, going down their list of employees, adding like their, you know, director of marketing and their VP of sales and their co-founders and their CEOs. And then I just go to like the next company on a list of top funded companies. And I just do this for like 40, 50 companies. And I would add a bunch of people. And I had been doing this for years. Up till that point, I had been doing this for at least like 3 years. So I just started making content. It was that March and April of last year where I just started making a bunch of stuff. Todd Clouser was making, you know, these TikTok style marketing skits. I had made one with him already while we were at Refine Labs together. So that kind of set me up to start making like marketing skits of my own. So I did that. Ding Zhang was making like sales rap songs. So I was like, whatever, like I've been not whatever in terms of like what he was doing. I think what he's doing is awesome. But in terms of like my approach to it, like I'm afraid to do it, or is it going to be corny or this, I was like, kind of like, whatever, man, like screw it. Let's do it. Right. Like Ding can pull it off with sales. I think I can pull it off with marketing. So I started making that kind of worked out well. I've always thought like Twitch streaming was cool, like, you know, streaming on Twitch, playing video games and stuff. So I was like, all right, whatever, let's do it. I like stream myself playing video games while talking about marketing. I posted that on LinkedIn. That worked out. So like in 1 month, in like 30 days, I just posted like all this content on LinkedIn. My plan was I'm going to stop applying for jobs and I'm just going to post on LinkedIn for 2 months. And then I'm going to go back to applying for jobs and see if it's made a difference. And about like a month into posting content on LinkedIn, you know, my follower count and all that stuff started growing and all that stuff. So I thought it was cool. I kept just sticking to it, posting all this kind of content on LinkedIn. That's what started the whole like LinkedIn content creation journey stuff. I joined Client Boost. Again, you know, cool company, but wasn't the right spot for me. Just things happen and whatnot, And so that didn't work out. And so I left that company. Again, at this point, it's a little weird. I got into, I had the idea of like moving to Europe. So
Really?
there's this company. Yeah. So I was just trying to move out to Europe. And there's this, you know, the next company I joined, they were all like, yeah, you know, uh, join on a 3-month contract. If it works out, like we'll get you a work visa and move you out to London. So I'm like, all right, that's my ticket to Europe, you know? So I joined this company. It went well. The people were great. Everyone's good. The team was awesome, but we were just misaligned on just like goals and what was expected and whatnot. And, you know, so I ended up not renewing the contract. So then that was like in December, right? So now we've gotten through the entire of 2022. So it was just a crappy year. You know, it was just a really crappy year from, sure, the content and stuff on LinkedIn was taking off, but I just could not find the right spot for me. As much as, you know, people like my content on LinkedIn and everyone always seems to agree with what I'm saying when it comes to like creative concepts and memorable marketing and just all this stuff. It's not as simple as, you know, like people on LinkedIn will make it out to be when they just pop up and they're like, yeah, I totally agree. And, you know, like we should definitely do it that way. It's, you know, it's a lot of the times it's those people that, you know, once you actually join a company like that, once you actually join a team like that, it's nothing but like challenges and hurdles and, you know, like internal marketing and in constant debates. And it's just like, wait, what's happening? And then so then what happens with me is if I'm, like I said, I enjoyed the beginning of Loxo when it was difficult and it was message testing and there was all these things to figure out and things to set up. I really enjoyed that. I think it just comes from me like video gaming. I like to play these video games that are extremely difficult, big boss battles. They kill you 100 times and you're just like, dude, what the hell? Then you figure out all of their moves and mechanics and you go back and you can like, you beat them without getting a single hit or something. And it's this very like rewarding, triumphant feeling that's almost kind of like transferred over into my career, where if things are very challenging and things are difficult and I have to like really, really work hard and all that stuff and, you know, like use my brain and figure things out, then I'm having a blast. Like my overall days, you know, the day to day is one thing, but when I look back at like 2-3 weeks, it's a blast. Like I'm having a great time. But when things become easy and they become sort of repetitive and it's just not challenging and I can wake up and I can just easily do this job, then I start to get very uneasy. I start to get just, I don't know if it's bored, annoyed, irritated. I don't know what it is, but if things are uncomfortable, I'm very comfortable. But if things get comfortable and easy and, you know, repetitive and just it's something very simple to pull off, I start to get very uncomfortable and I start feeling like I could be doing more. And, you know, like there's more stuff that I could be doing. There's more stuff that I could be accomplishing and whatnot. So I start to feel that way. So bringing that back to HockeyStack, I feel like HockeyStack's at a point where I can't see myself feeling that way. Like in terms of it being repetitive or there not being enough to do. There's not enough, you know, or there's not always something to figure out and, you know, a way to look forward and stuff like that. And so, you know, I haven't even officially joined you guys and I've been listening to these calls and it's just like, dude, this shit is it's so awesome. I can see people talking to you, getting these product demos. And I don't know if you've ever actually seen it in someone's eyes that their mind is currently being blown at the moment, but it's like, holy crap, like you could see it in their faces and it's so dope, dude. And so that was a huge part of me joining the, I was very burnt out from the past like 2 years of like trying to navigate the post-agency, post-COVID thing. And so that's why I took a break for like 3 months. I was like, all right, I'm not gonna rush back into a job. You know, I kept doing that last year. I wouldn't end up in the right place. So now I'm just gonna chill. And in the initial stages, again, because the reason I said that, like, oh, I'm just going to chill, not look for a job anymore, is because, again, I was applying for jobs and it wasn't working. And so at that point I was just like, all right, dude, like I'm gonna just chill. I'm not gonna apply for jobs. And then, I've always thought that like no one's ever gonna come knock on your door and be like, hey man, you're awesome. Here's this amazing job, right? Like I've always thought that. But for some reason I was this time, I don't know, I may have gotten a little overconfident or cocky, but I feel like this past year, I feel like I've put out enough like content and information on LinkedIn, right? Because if you go back to like March, I was like, oh, I'm just going to post for a month or two. And then, like I'm going to go back to trying to look for a job. But at that point I had posted, 8-9 months or something. So I felt like I had put out enough content on LinkedIn and people knew enough, because again, at that point I was like, no one knows you can do all these things. You can do all these things, right? I mean, you can do all these things. So like, I felt like, okay, maybe people know enough now. And so I kind of just betted on that and I just chilled out. I was like, something's going to pop up. Someone's going to pop up. At first it was, a different company. I was sure I was going to join them. That was in January. And I actually sat on that for over a month, and other people came to me and I was like, nope, I got this one company I'm going to join, and that's that. And I tell these other companies, like if I was actually very interested in them, which didn't happen. But there was one other company I told that like, hey, I'll work for you part-time, or, I'll do something temporary for the next 2 months until I join this other company full-time. Right. So like I was very set on joining that company. And then you messaged me, you emailed me, you messaged me, and you were like, hey, join us. And then I had seen you guys on LinkedIn. Specifically, I had seen Bura, right? I had seen his content and stuff. So I was like, oh, I know. I've heard of HockeyStack. I had no idea what you guys did. Right. So like at first, I didn't reply to you for like, I think it was like a day or two, because I was like, crap, like, because I wanted to join that one company full time, and I had just told this other company that I'd join them part time until I joined the other company full time. And then so you emailed me 2 days after that. So I was like, shit, I don't know how to respond now. And then so I looked into, because I didn't know what HockeyStack did. So I had just seen you guys on LinkedIn. So I looked into it and I was like, okay, this is kind of cool. And then so that's when I replied back, and I was like, all right, I'll just have a chat with him. Initially, like out of just like, because you took the time to reach out to me. So I was just like, I can't just like not reply. You know what I mean? I can't just like not reply and like not reply to him, not talk to him and stuff. So like I set up that call with you just to like see like what you had in mind and all that stuff. And then you showed me the product, and then I was like, oh, okay, this changes a lot. And I remember we spoke one time and we talked for like an hour, and then you had to jump on another call. But then after your call, we jumped back on to a second call. And so yeah, those two conversations, man, where you kind of just like told me why you reached out to me, which is, I want to get back to that. That was important too. But you told me why you reached out to me. You told me, you showed me the product, what it did. You told me like your vision for the product, all the things that you guys want to do with it. You explained the way you see marketing and the way that you wanted to do things. And I had a random silly idea and I threw it out to you, and you were like, yeah. And I like that. And I was like, okay, cool. And then so there was that. And then I think the last thing that made you guys want to join is you were just super encouraging, man. And you were super just like nice. And just, at that point, it was it was a good point. It was a point in my career where I was kind of like, where I was on the break and, you know, just a lot of things going on. I was questioning like whether, you know, all this content that I made and the stuff that I was doing, I was questioning whether like I should continue it and whether it was like worth it in terms of like impact on the industry and like the value that like people were receiving from it. And I was just questioning whether like it was not in terms of me, like, oh, is it working for me and is it benefiting me? But I was just like, yo, like, you know, is this even like helpful, or is this even like, are people even actually really finding value from this and whatnot? So all that stuff, I think all these things, if you, you know, you roll it up into one experience, it was pretty overwhelming, everything combined, from the product to the way you guys want to build the team to just the personal things that were going on in my life at the time. I think, I think it made a lot of sense. And yeah, so
Yeah.
I was totally convinced not to join that other company. And yeah, I joined you guys instead.
Yeah. From like what I heard from you, it is like really similar to what, like we have been going through. I have been going through in my career. If you're like, if you're not average, if you're good, if you're really good in any way, you're almost always more lonely than other people, than the average people.
Yeah.
You have less friends. If you're a really good marketer, you have less opportunities to join, which is somewhat ironic. But if you're really good at what you do, it's like you can only join a couple of companies, and if you join the other ones, you won't have a good time. From my point of view, like before that, like as a founder myself, I was like in school, I was always like, I only had like a couple of friends because our perspectives were different. Everyone was trying to major in something. I was trying to build something. That's nothing wrong with the other way, but it's just not my way. I think that's similar to you as well. When someone checks out your profile, they will be seeing only like 3 months, 4 months, 5 months at different companies. But before that, you have like 4 years at one company, 12 years at your own agency, which shows me that there might be something wrong with the other companies. And from my point of view, how it turned out is, so we were going through some milestones that are not public yet. And we were like talking about scaling all this like media department thing, scaling our LinkedIn game, and then like just bringing together a narrative through our customer success, sales, product, and marketing all together. And I was looking at people, and what I saw is some really great marketers, they are good at execution, and the other ones are great at strategy, and we need both right now. And then I talked with a couple people. I got referrals. I talked with them. I was not convinced, and then I talked with Jared Robin, and then he mentioned, it was like late evening, it was like 11 p.m. He like mentioned one person, and then 30 minutes later he said, oh, there's one other guy that we were not a fit back then, but he's the exact guy that you're looking for. And then he sent me your LinkedIn, and I checked it out. I saw you before, but I thought you were full-time at Cognizant. So I didn't think of you. And then I checked it out. I like the easy modes framework. It just like, it was the exact thing that we're looking for, because we are doing something similar with LinkedIn, with our content. Overall, our strategy is just to be everywhere, creating dope content. So the name like just made me feel right. And then I tried to find your cell number on Apollo. I sent a text, and you were in Pakistan, so you didn't get that. And then that day, late in the evening, I think it was like 1 a.m. I sent you a one-page DM on LinkedIn, and then I changed some parts, sent you another email, and then I just waited. And then after a day, you replied because I follow up. And then we had a call, and then you said no. And then So I thought there was no chance, but I just said like, let me tell him our vision, what we're doing. Maybe we can stay in touch or something like that. And then I saw that you're slowly being more curious about what we do and then what our goals are. And then we had 1 hour conversation and I had a demo and it was like 9 p.m. on a Thursday. I had a demo with a Indian company and then you said, let me think about it. And you joined that demo and then let us talk from 1 hour. And then I joined that call. And then in that like 45 minutes in between, you have already thought about 2 really creative ideas. And then I took notes. And it was just like, it felt right. And then after like a day, you met with Pura, my co-founders, and then they were convinced too. We were messaging on Slack. They were like, this guy is awesome.
Nice.
Let's hire him. All that stuff. And in like 1.5 days, we were already through the interview process. You met with my co-founders and we were done. And I think that's, if it's a really good fit, that's what it should be that way. Some people may think like, oh, you need to do 3 interviews, 4 different goals, test, all that stuff. I don't think that way. The best hires that we did were like super fast. It was the same with Dee as well. It was the same with Courtney. And also it's the same with relationships too. It just clicks.
Yeah.
And then,
yeah, dude. Yeah. That's awesome, man. I really appreciate you reaching out and being, and, sort of being persistent and identifying and seeing those moments like, okay, yeah, I think he's breaking. I think I can convince him. But, I think that's pretty awesome how it went down. And that is how it went down. And yeah, I'm glad we can make that work. And I'm just super hyped to be starting tomorrow. There's a bunch of stuff that, I want to go over and just talk about, discuss with you guys and plan out. So I'm super hyped. Again, man, I think the product itself is crazy. And I think you guys are a great team to be behind it, and just the way that y'all see it. I didn't even know about the ChatGPT thing until my flight home from Dubai. And I was sitting there. That's the demo that I saw. I've already joined you guys. I'm already blown away by the product, and I'm already kind of like, talking about it to, other marketers and stuff, in terms of like, yo, you got, it's not really just, Todd and Drew from Client Boost and whatnot. It's like, dude, HockeyStack is crazy and just whatnot. And so I'm already like hyped about it, and I don't even know about the ChatGPT thing. So I'm watching this product demo on the flight home, and you're just like, you tell the guy, you're like, hey, so did you see my post about ChatGPT yesterday? And I'm like, mm-hmm. And then you like showed that video, and I was like, no way. Like, are you kidding? And dude, I was literally like on the plane. I was like, Jesus Christ, like, you gotta be kidding me. And like people like looking over at me and stuff. Like I was so like ignoring my surroundings because I was like just reacting to like the whole ChatGPT thing. And so, yeah, man, like, dude, I'm just super hyped about getting to market this thing, getting to tell other people about it. The way that, how are we gonna position this? How is the messaging gonna evolve over time? The branding aspects of it. We talked about all the different content strategy, the different series, the everything from the brand art style to just all that stuff, man. So there's a lot. And yeah, I'm glad that I've finally been able to switch over from agency life to being able to focus and grow one product. That was another personal thing that I was trying to accomplish, move away from agency and be able to just use all my experience and time and effort to grow one thing. And so, yeah, I'm super hyped that that's HockeyStack for sure.
Yeah, I think there's It's a problem with the cable. Again, there's noise.
1 second.
Yeah. Yeah. What was the highlight from the demos? Was it because they were like blown away?
Is it still here?
Of the product?
That sound?
No.
Okay, cool. The biggest highlight for me, dude, there's a couple. It's just really cool. It's really cool seeing it in people's faces that they're like gradually more and more blown away. It's pretty sick. Some people, they're even kind of like left speechless by the end. There was one video I remember specifically where the prospect had lots and lots of questions in the beginning, and they were very like talkative and stuff like that. But by the end, they were like, "Yeah, I'll get back to you soon. Yeah, I know I said a few months before, but yeah, just give me till next week. Yeah." Like, and then you were like, "Okay, cool." And they're like, yeah, no. Like, dude, they were like, you could see it in their eyes that like their mind was just like thinking of all these things, racing back and forth about like all the shit that you had just shown them. And like just gradually through that demo, they got like more and more, like, I don't know, dude. It was just, I've never seen that. I've never seen, like, in terms of like the SaaS world, like watch somebody's mind get blown. And that was huge. That was huge. And the other takeaway is just like, it's been a big learning experience. It's obviously, I don't know about anyone else, but like for me, it's obviously a bit difficult to grasp the entire like power of the product just through sitting there watching multiple demos. I know I'm going to have to like get into it, jump around, do that stuff, proper walkthroughs, proper tutorials, proper like, okay, what does this do? What does that do? How do I do this? How do I do that? So it's been a bit, though the product demos have been very informational, it's hard to sort of grasp the full picture, the entirety of the value and features and stuff like that, just from piecing together these like product demos. So yeah, man, it's just, the biggest thing for me was just the things that I did learn, and you know, like what you were showing them, setting up custom dashboards. The other thing was, you guys are super like customer centric, and like that's a huge thing for me. It's actually something that got me in trouble before, is like vouching, like not vouching, but like trying to do something, like trying to, I don't know if I want to get down that, I don't know if I want to go down that road, but it's been a huge thing in my career, right? Like companies needing to be customer centric, almost to the point where like, I don't know, like you have to go out of your way to like, you know, make it a great experience for prospects and customers and whoever like comes in touch with your company. So I felt like you guys are that way too. Like you guys feel the same way. So I got that from the product demos as well. So that was really cool to see. And it kind of just, you know, reconfirmed and just reaffirmed that, yeah, like out of the companies that I could have gone to, I feel like this was the best choice for sure.
Awesome. Yeah, it's so great to hear. Because it was really hard to come this far, and now from like smartest people in the world to hear this, it really feels awesome.
Nice,
and for the future, so I'm like preparing our onboarding documents. I'm putting together a list of ideas that I have, plans, all that stuff. So without giving the secrets away, what are the top, I don't know, 3 things that you want to do this quarter? And after that, last part, who do you want to hire?
The top 3 things I want to do this quarter. Well, not number one, but like the thing I'm looking forward to doing first is just just absolutely learning everything about the product, the company, the vision, the goals, like inside and out, almost like I've been there like the entire time. One of the things that, I don't know, this might sound a bit much, but one of the things I did on my trip when you added me on Slack is like when I'd get the time, I'd just scroll all the way back up to like the top of the Slack channel and then just start reading the conversation. And, you know, it wouldn't last long. I'd always have to run off and do something. But whenever I'd find like that 5, 10, 15 minutes of just like kind of sitting there doing nothing, I'd just be like, all right, cool. And I'd start reading through these Slack channels. So like, I think like the first thing that I'd like to accomplish is just like knowing everything about the product, the company, and all that stuff, like just like the back of my hand and inside and out, kind of like I've been there the whole time, getting caught up on like the time that I have missed out in a way. And then from there, you know, the narrative, sort of like all that stuff, man, the narrative, audience, you know, defining our audience, understanding our, you know, goal, you know, identifying goals for the year, breaking them down into quarters. You know, eventually once we have that stuff sorted out, we've built out, you know, something like a narrative. We've started doing some message testing, you know, start trying to, you know, craft the right message. We get the positioning right, content strategy, develop a content strategy. I really want to take the approach that we take in the easy mode framework with the top down, the middle out, the bottom up. I want to get that established, build out a realm of relevancies. So we have all that information to feed our strategy. Really looking forward to getting a series out there for each one of those functions, the top down, the middle out, the bottom up, getting that consistent. And from there, you know, moving on to next quarter and beyond, the brand art style, that stuff, that's always been a thing. So I'm super excited that someone else other than me is like into that and appreciative of that. So I can't wait to get into that and finally, you know, like do that. And man, just there's a whole lot of stuff I'm looking forward to. And
yeah, we were just playing FIFA, and then we were talking about the Figma file that you showed, the like art styles you and Todd, and then we were just talking about, like it would be awesome and super cool to have something like that for us.
I'm gonna put together one for HockeyStack for sure when the time comes for it. I'm stopping myself from jumping into those things immediately because I know, like, you know, 3 years ago it's what I would have done, and I know it's a sure sign of like a rookie marketer or something. But I'm stopping myself from jumping into all those things. I'm like, no, Bad. There's more important things you need to focus on first. So like, you know, we always want to just jump into the fun stuff and the creative stuff. And, but yeah, I know that, you know, there's a whole lot of other stuff that I want to do first and that I feel are more important, that I feel are more necessary. And I'm looking forward to doing first.
Yeah. You have not seen what I put together in terms of onboarding and the plans and ideas. But it's like, as of right now, who are you looking for the content team?
Okay, so
and this can change too.
Yeah, I'd love to. So one thing is, so I want to build out a content team, but I want everyone on the team to be a content creator, right? So like if we hire someone, or if someone joins us, someone joins our team to, you know, focus on our blog and scale like our blog traffic and all that stuff, like that would be cool. But I would want that person to be a content creator. like me or Todd or Will Aitken, you know, or Travis Tyler, like content creators like that, to where we can do all this different type of content for social, right? So like, I really want to build out a team that way. You know, if we hire someone to, you know, if someone joins us for paid ads, you know, if someone joins us for as a designer, then like I would want all of these people to be content creators. And I think it would be super sick to get our own series going. And, you know, that sort of ties back to HockeyStack, that ties back to what they do. And I think it would be awesome to build out a team that way.
It is the must for every single like revenue facing team member that we have.
Yeah. And I'd love to, you know, over time, I don't know in terms of like the priority in terms of the order in which we'll be reaching out to these people and the order in which these people will be joining our team. You know, that all depends on other stuff that I'll learn once I join. But just in terms of the team that I would like to build out over time, and, you know, maybe in the next 2 years or 3 years, like this is the HockeyStack marketing team. Off the top of my head, I know we'd need a designer. I know we need someone for social. I'd love to have someone that I could focus on the blog with, that I could work on the blog strategy, and I could edit all their content. That I'd love to have someone for video. So like actual video, and then another person for animation as well, animation and illustration, and someone for paid. And I don't know if I said social in terms of like social channels, social media, but that person. And so I think if I was able to put together a team like this, and, you know, we were all content creators, we all thought the same way and sort of had like a similar vision, maybe not think the same way, but if we had a similar vision and just agreed on like the different approach we would need to take in order to accomplish HockeyStack's goals, I think that'd be epic. I think that'd be super sick. And I'm looking forward to putting together such a team.
And based on what we talked before, the first person that you want to get is a content writer, right?
Yeah, that'd be awesome if we could. Because I feel like between me and that person, because a lot of people discount blogging and like the blog channel, and I just feel like, one, I of course, I mean, this might sound super biased, but I like my approach to blogging. I like the way that I do it, because historically I've accomplished things like, you know, increase in site traffic and organic visitors, and increase in domain authority, and, you know, domain rank and all that, but in a way to where it was very like reader centric, where the people that were coming to the blog, it was never like, oh, this is just like over optimized SEO drivel meant to rank in search engines, right? Like the writing style that I've employed has always been seen as like, oh no, I love reading this. I enjoy reading this. It's actually like, one, I can actually learn a lot from it. It's super insightful, but at the same time, like, it makes me laugh and it makes me smile, and I can actually get through the entire thing. So I feel like accomplishing that, being able to pull that off, and I feel like just with one content marketer like me and that person could easily accomplish this. And it's not like something I would need an agency for, because it's hard to do through an agency.
Yeah, I don't believe in ghostwriting agencies.
Yeah, and so like to accomplish that through an agency, I think it would be difficult, and I just think it would be much easier if I could find just sort of like the content marketer that I know can write really, really well. They get it. They get content strategy. They get all the research aspects of it and stuff, interviewing. And then with me sort of like working with them to do it from this other approach and sort of setting them up with those tools and those like different methods and stuff, we could easily accomplish that. And so I feel like that is not, and, you know, aside from me, I feel like companies just early on, just get it taken care of. Like just get the SEO stuff, the blog stuff, like set up, going, while you can focus on, you know, like other channels and stuff. I don't think it should be the only one you should focus on, like, ever. If you can only do like one thing in-house, then definitely focus on like something like LinkedIn or whatever, you know, social channel your audience, your customers are hanging out on. Definitely focus on that in-house and just like outsource the SEO blog stuff. But I do feel like it's something that you should always, like, the earlier on that you can get that going and just like consistent, the better, because it's going to take time to get going. It's going to take time to like start paying off and all that. So yeah, I would love to sort of sort that out immediately and then be able to focus on this other stuff.
Yeah, we have a good foundation on SEO, but we have not focused on it for the last couple months. But yeah, I'm gonna leave a note on our post on Monday so that people can reach out. I know it's gonna take some time because writing content is super hard, and finding good talent in that area is super hard too. Lots of people are just copying and pasting other blog posts. Yeah,
especially with all the chat GPT and here's 10 prompts you could enter to write your, you know, get headlines and blah 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 and all that stuff. So especially with all that being a rage right now.
Yeah, and with this person, we're gonna do blog posts, but we're gonna also do other things like company page, LinkedIn company page, LinkedIn person posts, all other stuff, including content. Yeah. Obaid, thank you so much. I'm super excited. I'm super excited for this. And also a thing that I'm seeing here is most companies are trying to decide whether like they should be doing this or this. Our whole mentality is we should be doing both if it's going to grow us, and we will just find a way. Either it is outsourcing without compromising of the quality of either of those things. And I'm seeing the same thing from you too. When people listen to this or when people check your profile out, they will be seeing, oh, this guy is on the creative side. He will not do blog posts. He would not do SEO. But it's the exact opposite. You're doing it in a different way without compromising quality of content, creative, LinkedIn, all that stuff. It's all together with other like influencers focusing on the dark social, who think SEO is that, blogging is that, all the other stuff is that. Only thing is LinkedIn social, dark funnel. It's kind of different. It's what we're looking for. Super happy to have you on board.
Thanks,
really
man.
Excited.
Really appreciate it. Yeah, I'm super psyched. Appreciate you reaching out and appreciate you making the effort to get me on the team. I'm excited to get this thing going.